Okay, let's take a page that's already complete and see if we can create the same thing using our HTML tags and attributes. So if we look at this one, it's got an image up inside the banner area. It has all kinds of text that has been formatted. There's rules, horizontal rules that we've used. So let's take a chance and try and get this thing to work. Now this is the way it's going to look when it's finished. Now again, remember, this is just a picture of one, so there may be a little sizing issues that'll be different. Now, as long as you open the file I've told you to open, the practice one, then we can go through here and fill in the content and also work with the information. Okay. Now, the PDF has what it's going to look like, and we'll switch between typing it in and the document. We're going to open our Crimson, and this is what we're going to save our new file as. Practice One Solution dot, remember, HTM is our web solution page. All right, so we're going to create our basic HTML, our open and close, or our two-sided tags, HTML head, title, and body. So if we look at this, you can type your template in, the head, the title, the script, all that information. And since I want to make sure my HTML5 tags are interpreted, I'm going to include the script modernizer. Okay, so follow along. You can pause this if you need to as we're typing it in. Okay. So the first thing I know I'm going to do is I'm going to need to put an image in the banner. Okay. Now, if I want to know what to do coding-wise, I've also provided what you need to do as far as following along. So I've got the headings in the body of my page, and it tells me that on the headings level I have 1, 2, 3 different headings level that we'll put in. But at the top I need to do an image tag with the source attribute to logo and an alternate to New You Personal Training. We got to make sure our logo image is in the same folder as our Practice One solution. Okay, so let's get started. So here I know I've got to do an image tag, and my source is going to be the same as my logo.jpg in the quote. For my next attribute, it's a space, ALT, and it's going to be all the text that was put in here. So I'm just going to copy that and paste it right there. Close the value area. Since this is an open tag, I put my slash in that. Now, if you wanted to test this, you could save it and then view in a browser. Now remember, once I get this up in a browser, I'm going to switch between the browser and the application. So I can go in here and I'm going to save it. Just make sure you save yours in the same folder as your image is located. So here's my image. I'm going to save it here. So my project, or actually my practice, solution, HTM. And I'm going to save it. So now I should be able to view it in the browser. And there's my image. From now on, I can switch between adding text here, going back over to here and refreshing, and it'll show everything that I changed. Okay. Now if I look at my image here, I'm going to have a large heading saying welcome to you personal training. Now again, I'm going to take the text and it told you what heading to have. In H1, there's my text, and then close the H1. Now, if it looks too big, we can always change this to what the directions suggest, which is an H3. Or an H2 for the main. Then we can have an H3. And let's go get our text again. You can type it if you'd rather do that. Do another H3. Let's go get our other. And put it in. And again, let's go ahead and close our H3. Now let's save it and see what it looks like. Save it. Go to where you already have it in your browser. Refresh. And here's what we have. That's an H2. Both are H3s. Let's go back and see what else we need to do. Okay. We've already done the logo. Now we're going to need to do a P tag with our first block of text that's in our image. So let's see what text we have here. Since this is a paragraph, we've got to do our P tag. Put in our text, and I'm going to indent a little here again. And I'm going to make it so it fits on one page. So as long as I don't put a break in, I can make it so I can see all of this. And again, I need to close my P tag because that is a two-sided or a block tag. And we can continue to save it. Go back, put it on. Now, if I want any of these breaks, all I have to do is put a BR tag. So if I go back and look, notice that. Please take A after the A. Please take A. If I want to break there, then I'm going to have to do my BR. And it's an open tag, so there's my slash. I'm putting a space between the R and the slash. Now when I save that, you should be able to go back, refresh, and it's on 2 lines. Now pause this and see if you can do the rest of it yourself. And if you run into problems, just start it back up and emulate what I'm doing. But see if you can get this yourself. Okay, I'm going to go do the rest of it. And again, pause it if you will and see if you can figure out yourself how to do the tags. Then you can start it back up and see how I've got them laid out. So I've got our next heading above our unordered list. And why is it an unordered list? When I look at it, it has dots. If it had numbers, I'd have to put an ordered list. So I'm going to switch back between these two, copying these as I go. Okay, so an unordered list. Not only is the unordered list a two-sided tag, but it's also nested. So remember, I have to do an LI. Oh, wrong copy. I'm going to jump over, grab the information, copy it, and paste it. Now notice this degree symbol shows up here because I copied it, but actually we have to make sure, let's look what the code is, to put this code with the semicolon inside of our HTML. Okay? And if you want, you can always put some of this text on the next line. It won't hurt as long as I don't do anything as far as do a line break. Now I'm going to do some more bullets and just change the text in them. Next text I need, this one. And it's going to become repetitious after this. And every time I generate a bullet, that's another enter key. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish that one out here. You could go ahead and do the rest of them. Just remember, close your unordered list. Now when I save this, go look at it again. Now we have, and notice the symbol. And I'd have the rest of the list here if I did the rest of the ULs. All right, let's go back and see what else we need to do. Once I do that, again, I'm going to have another P tag. And in certain places, we have bold and italic. So I'm going to use the bold and the italic tags within the P tag when I want to. So I'm going to take my information and I'm going to go do a P tag. Two-sided. And again, I'm going to put these on one line. I'm going to close my P tag. And I'm going to look to see which ones are bold and which ones are italic here. Notice it said all are bold and all are italic. Now, we're using, again, attributes, not styles. So I want them to be bold, and I want them to be italicized, which means before I close my P tag, I've got to close from the inside out. The I, the B, then the P. So, /I, /B, and my /P, they're all closed. So let's save it. Do it again. And there's my line of code. Now the next thing I want to do, I need to add a block quote and a cite. So I'm going to go in here and look at the information. So here's my two horizontal rules. Here's the content that's in the block quote, and then this is a cite within the block quote. So let's go do it. Again, the horizontal rule is an open tag. So there's the slash. I need to do a block quote. Now I can go grab the information. And I'm going to put it in. Notice it's all in one line. So I'm going to have to go in here and start making sure that I can see all of it. That's a lot. All right. I'm not done with the block quote because now it has told me, remember, I've got to use the site tag to display the name. Okay. So here's the dash in the name. But I got to remember to put the site and remember this is a symbol that I'd have to pull the code out, but I have to make sure that I close the site, and notice site is one of those tags that not only does apply formatting, it talks or explains the content that it's formatting. So I saved that. Let's see how our page is coming along. Oh, there we go. Now again, if I want any breaks, I'm going to have to put them in myself. So every time I want a break, how many lines do I have after both ands? So I'm going to go through here and I'm going to find where I want my first one. Right there. And then after my next and, oh, sorry. Let me get that back up there. And now I can save it. And I've done this myself. Now notice this one, it's not on its own line, so I'm going to have to do a break before it. Now, that one will work. What else do we need to put in there? We needed to put a horizontal rule, but I have to close this block quote, or the horizontal rule will be block coded with the rest. It's one of those that has to be turned off. Okay, I can save it again. Refresh. And there we go. Now, if I wanted 2 lines, I could just do 2 BRs right before it. Okay. If I wanted 5 spaces before the name, I would have to do 5 codes of what is called non-breaking spaces in BSP. But we'll keep going. Now, we only have left another header and then an address. So let's look what they're telling us to do. Okay. I want to create the 2 horizontal. I've got all my information in here. And I could add my sections. But I want to make sure that the address tag is on the bottom information. So there's my address. I have to use my address. This is another logical tag that not only tells what it does, it also formats. And let's close our address. Okay. Now again, this is going to be one line. If I wanted it in multiple, I'd have to do BRs where I wanted it actually to have that. Okay, now again, there's other things that I could have done, but you've got just remember when we do attributes, an attribute always has the property is equal to the value, space, next one. If I wanted to center anything in here, I could just put a line equals center. We'll work a lot more with attributes, but anything that we can do with a style over an attribute That's what we'll do. The last thing you would normally do, or maybe even the first, is to make sure and put your name, the date, and the information for documentation here. So I could come in here and do my documentation, which is, see, everything turns green. And I could keep on going and put the date and a short message. But I have to remember to close dash dash greater than. Okay. Save it. Look at it. I know we left out a few of the bullets and one of the headers, but that's okay. And we'll talk about sections later on. That's it. Continue on. Hope this was good for you.